Welcome to the first E3 Jimpressions video of this year. We did them last year. We did them, I say we as if I've got a team. It's me on my own in my underpants, just doing shit for no one's interest. But last year I did a video a day with all the press conferences that happened that day. This year I'm going to do one after every press conference, just if you're interested. You don't have to watch it if you don't fucking care. Also, I'm joined by Conrad Zimmerman. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm alright. I'm good. I just watched an hour of sports and war.
Sports and war.
Sports and war. So, E3's press conference. I didn't enunciate that well at all. E3's press conference.
EA's E3 press conference.
E3's EA. Play. The power of play. I gotta stay away from my microphone. The pop filter is not very good if I'm going the power of play or the power all the time. So the power of play, EA Play, that was their not E3 press conference, I suppose, but it was their fucking E3 press conference.
Well, they can't, save all the money on, getting the hype around E3 while not being a part of E3 by buying booth space if they say it's their E3 press conference.
Exactly. But it was their E3 press conference. It just wrapped up. We just watched an hour of sports and war. Andrew Wilson there talking to us about play, talking bollocks.
Oh my god. And when he came out on the stage, my first thought was this is what this is what Skynet thinks humans think looks human.
He's not a real man.
No.
He's a robot. I thought that last year. I was calling him Andrew Tron 3000, which I thought was funny, and then you fucking came along and had something even better.
Android Wilson, that's his name now.
Android Wilson, that's fantastic. So I'm stealing that.
Go for it.
Next year I'm going to use it, and everyone will have forgotten about this video.
Yeah, and everyone will be all like, "Oh, Jim, you're so witty and fun," and I'll sit seething in a corner, planning your demise. Yeah, that'll happen.
Did you like it or not?
I mean, it's fine. The thing with EA is that they are a behemoth company, and they had a little something for hardly anyone, right? Unless you like war or sports. And the sports, I saw a lot of people on Twitter complaining oh, who cares about all the sports thing? Well, the investors do. The sports make all the money.
It's important it's there. I will make fun of it. I will talk about how bored I am and how it's piss break time.
Yeah.
And how a lot of people in the audience are up. I did one tweet that was the EA executives are playing Battlefield 1 backstage laughing at all the chumps in the audience because they're watching FIFA. And that upset some people. They're like, oh, yeah, well, they've got to talk about FIFA. It's important. It's not like it makes millions of dollars. No. It is important that it's there. It is huge. But it's also funny to take the piss out of it because there's so much football. But
they had meat, and they had a real direction with the sports stuff this time that I think is something worth acknowledging. They're
doing Madden. Skip Madden, don't give a fuck. But the FIFA stuff seems interesting.
Well, I think the idea of pursuing esports with their sports products is something that could be absolutely huge if they're willing to put the resources and the energy behind doing it. I don't know that it's going to be league big. Sure, that's probably not going to happen, but it can make them some good money. And in markets that league probably isn't as successful in. Mm-hmm, having FIFA to get into that would be enormous. So I think that's going to be more interesting than people are giving it credit for.
Yeah, I mean, it still won't interest me, ever.
Yeah.
But it is interesting for different people.
Well, speaking of things that are of no interest to me, the Star Wars announcements were...
I loved that whole presentation because it was basically... I mean, I'll do the entire presentation. I'll do it quicker than they did because you can sum it up really quick. Their entire presentation was Star Wars... Star Wars, may the Force be with you. Bye! That was basically their whole Star Wars bit.
But there were a little bits of additional information. I mean, Visceral and Respawn doing Star Wars games could be really, really good.
Oh, yeah, I mean, potentially really good. Potentially, yeah. I love Visceral as a studio. Them working on a Star Wars game makes me feel good because I am still Still certain if EA is going to shit can another developer, which they love to do, like Visceral's on the chopping block. So
I agree.
I really hope they can knock it out the park with a Star Wars game. If that fails, then definitely Android Wilson is going to find more human flesh that he can grind into an Orgo Vita paste to sustain his rubbery body. But yeah, they showed like, I think, a collective 10 seconds of footage of whatever game they're working on. Everyone on Twitter fucking spunking their jeans over it, saying this looks... someone was like, yes, this is the Star Wars game I'm looking for. How the fuck do you know that? It was a dude walking out a door. Is that what Star Wars is? Just dudes walking out of doors? We don't know what that's going to be like yet. I do hope it's good.
I remember the first trailers for Force Unleashed, too. Do you remember how mind-fucking-blowing those were?
Well, there you... Yes, I do.
Do you remember the game that resulted after those trailers?
Yeah, not a terrible game.
Not a bad game,
but... It did not set the world on fire. No. So, I keep it guarded. Some call me a miserable bastard, but I prefer to be... if I'm a miserable bastard, I can only have my expectations go up from there.
Yes.
I can only be impressed. So yeah, that was Star Wars. Star Wars Battlefront 2, I don't know what they're going to call it. Star Wars Battlefront, the next one. They could just call it Complete Edition, because it sounds like they're going to actually finish this one and not bring it out in early access like they did with the last one.
Right.
So that would be cool. Jade Raymond was on stage, and she was... she mentioned they're listening to feedback and everything on that, which is basically it's a very EA way of saying, yeah, we didn't finish the last one, and we might finish this one if you're lucky. So, cool. Star Wars. Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 saw my best Twitter goof so far in E3. When they, what's his face? Is it Zampella came out and was all, we're finally going to have a single player campaign in Titanfall. It's going to be single player in Titanfall 2. And I said, this was really funny. I said, what do you mean? The first Titanfall had a single player. You just had to log on a month after launch.
I was having during the Titanfall trailer, I was in a bit of a fugue state. And I had my just sort of automatic reflex reaction to watching streaming video and an ad comes on, which was to look away and look at something on the other screen while I waited for the ad to end. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, this is what I'm supposed to be watching. This is why I'm here. I'm supposed to be watching. So now, and then my video player did it weird. Did they show 2 different Titanfall videos?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Good, because I watched the first one and it ended, and I was like, okay, cool, that's fine.
The first
and
one it was just Titanfall. It was all explosions and robots and looked, bigger, better, badder Titanfall.
Okay.
To be expected stuff.
See, because here's the funny thing about it. They start talking about it, and I assume they talked about it for a little bit, and then they showed another video.
Yeah.
But my player, wigged out on me briefly, and I dropped the stream for a moment, and when I came back up, I was seeing the end of that second video footage reel, and I honestly couldn't tell if something had gone wrong and I just seeked backwards on the recording of the live stream and I missed something. I was very confused for a brief moment.
Well, no, they showed the story trailer in which we learned that the Titans are apparently alive.
Oh, okay.
The Titan, at least that's what I could tell from what I was seeing. The Titan was talking, saying its job was to do the mission and protect the pilot and all this. Like going out of its way to grab the pilot and save them and stuff. So
interesting. That's a new wrinkle into the whole.
Well, it's a moral dilemma because think of all the Titans that I blew up in Titanfall, the first one, for that week that I played it.
A genocide. You committed a genocide.
What have I done? That is the human condition and morality and all the other video game buzzwords. So that's interesting. There'll be a single player campaign. It looks like more Titanfall, which is fine. It'll be on all the systems now, which means it should sell well. Should do well. The first one's big problem was it's not like it sold badly, and it's not like it was a bad game. I thought it was a great game. It's just it didn't keep us held Like public imagination. Like, people are still talking about Overwatch right now, and will continue to do so.
Whereas
they're not
any
doing that.
discussion of Titanfall really had wrapped up by
It
this
dried
point in
up.
Overwatch's
Yeah.
lifespan. Yeah.
Yeah, easily. So hopefully they can, like, just keep our imagination hooked, because the game's media was so, like, up Titanfall's arse. Really, really pushing it, and then they just dropped it. Once it was out, just dropped, forgotten. Wasn't worth it. All of that, bro, have you seen Titanfall thing? Just got irrelevant game. And I can see people doing it again. Like, I've been watching people on the Twitters, the games media folks, all Titanfall, all excited. It's like, yeah, but you're gonna forget it again when it comes out. Hope not. Was there anything? I mean, apart from the big one,
there was Mass Effect Andromeda.
Mass Effect Andromeda, they didn't talk about which aliens you get to shag, so I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I mean, what they showed looked very pretty. They said a lot about how they've learned a lot of lessons from the development of the first one.
Frostbite now as well,
and so that's great. I am kind of not. It's fine. Mass Effect's more. I know more Mass Effect is fine. I'm not one of those people who are utterly enchanted with it. Would I shag Garrus? Sure, I'd shag Garrus. Who wouldn't shag Garrus?
Course.
But that said, it's not. I don't have a huge particular affection for it. I think it will be a great quality game in all likelihood. But we don't really. We've always seen her some pretty pictures, and they are pretty. So that's great. Fee. I
think it was Fee. Fee. This was this year's let's find some awkwardly adorable, nervous European developer and trot him out on stage where he might not belong because he looks really upset.
8 out of 10. They've had more adorable indies who were more awkward than him, but he did fine.
Yeah, the game looks alright.
Yeah, the game looks alright. No,
it's in that Ori and the Blind Forest kind of mode of, cute thing.
Being, the indie trash that I am. I looked at it, I was like, oh, this is the thing that they stuck in here for me. That's sweet. That's really nice. And actually, I've been thinking, gosh, it sure has been a long time since I played like a PS1 era third-person platformer adventure thing, and sure, that'll do.
Well, yeah, looks what we in the business, when we like to use the overused words that games journalists use, is it looks charming. Looks charming. The EA Originals thing, that's their other big deal. Like, it's their, I guess, promise to scout out and find interesting indie games. Or as I put it, find small devs, turn them into big devs, then close them down.
Well, and it's the annual promise.
Yes.
They say this shit every year.
Yeah. They always do that. Yeah. We're committed to indies. And then they'll put out one, and it'll be all right.
God, there's something we haven't covered. What was it?
Oh, I don't know. Fear?
No, that wasn't it.
Doom.
Not them. That's later tonight.
I couldn't think of other. Those are my two joke suggestions. Fear, which is obscure enough as a thing to mention for a laugh, and then Doom, which isn't. Battlefield 1.
Yeah.
Battlefield 1.
Yeah.
No two matches are ever the same. You never play the same match twice. They kept saying the same fucking sentence more than once, though. They were really pushing that hard. And when EA pushes something that hard, I know it's fucking bollocks. This whole, every Battlefield match you play will be completely different. It won't be. You'll play Battlefield 1 matches that are similar to the other ones.
Yeah, that's not...
I mean, technically speaking, no one multiplayer match of anything is ever 100% the same.
That's the bullshit that they can couch this in.
Exactly.
But it is exactly that. It is a pile of bullshit. They're gonna feel the same to you because there's a limited number of maps and a limited number of strategies that you're going to get used to seeing, and that's gonna be the game. And that's okay. That's what chess is. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't feed us a line of crap about how dynamic your game's gonna feel.
right? But then that's EA for you. Like they can't help it. There's going to be microtransactions in that game, by the way. They've already announced. And map packs, which they're now calling macro transactions. In this kind of, like, weaselly, almost like we've always been at war with Eurasia kind of thing. Of if we call it macro transactions, that makes it sound like microtransactions have been here all along. Because it's just macro and micro. It's two sides of the same coin. We've always had this coin. It's clever and it's shitty, but I see you, EA. I see you. Macro fucking transactions. But yeah, they're doing microtransactions and they're selling DLC map pack things this year for Battlefield 1. So look forward to that. Otherwise, it looks it's a different setting. One of the most horrific periods in human history, but hey, they're going to make it World War fun.
I think it's time though. I mean,
definitely. I mean, I'm being shitty, but it's got my attention.
We don't talk enough about World War One. We have World War Two coming out of every direction all the time. It's the most oversaturated war, and
it's
for
easy
reasons.
to teach because it had a bad guy.
Yeah,
you could say these guys were good and those guys were bad. Whereas in World War One, it was like, there are all these people fighting and dying who really had no reason to be there, and out the outside of them, all of these posh assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I would love to see. It won't be, but I would love to see that explored in this game, because World War One is, when you really look at it, is an infuriating fucking thing. Mm-hmm. It is like it's you should be angry about it when you learn about that whole bollocks, or at least watch Blackadder Goes Forth, which is a very funny show that was also incredibly poignant and made some amazing points about war in general. But yeah, World War One. It is a very interesting setting. But it's almost the setting that works better for, say, a Telltale game than a first-person shooter, or certainly I've forgotten the fucking name of it now. Ubisoft's one, the platform
Assassin's Creed
with the dog. I'm going to remember it as soon. I'm going to have to Google it. If I put the video up and I haven't done it, I won't be able to sleep tonight.
The one with the dog?
Yeah, the one with the dog. Ubisoft World War One. I loved it. It made me cry.
Oh, Valiant Hearts.
Valiant Hearts. There we are. Yeah, it came up on Google just as you said it. Valiant Hearts. That's a more appropriate place to explore World War One. However, I'm always up for giving something a chance.
Yeah, I'm open-minded where that's concerned. I think World War One is very complex.
Certainly.
And we've seen so often the story of the soldier who's just, the average guy in the middle of it all. And I don't know how much one world war is going to differ from the other world war from that perspective. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see what they try to do to make the flavor of the World War One narrative more than just its technology, which might just be where it lays.
Yeah, could be. But yeah, that was that. I don't think we missed anything important.
I think we hit all the beats.
If we missed anything, it wasn't worth talking about, as far as I'm fucking concerned. So that was EA Play. EA is not E3, but definitely an E3 press conference. It was all right.
Yeah, it was.
They've done worse.
There was nothing offensive about it.
No, it was war and sports.
Yeah, and there was nothing about it that made me say, gosh darn, I'm going to buy an EA game this year. There was stuff that I was like, I'm sure this will make good entertainment that I might purchase.
Yeah, pretty much. It was a very workaday press conference. It went up there, did its job, and then fucked off. So, yeah, fine. Be that way, EA. See if we care. We will be back later. We'll be discussing Bethesda's. I think that's the one up tonight.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Bethesda. So we'll have a video up sometime after Bethesda's one for that, and we'll be doing that pretty much for all the press conferences, which means I might have to reschedule a doctor's appointment, but we'll see. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.